Hey girl, I'm Jamie Constantine. I'm a wife, mom of 2 teenage boys, and a multi-passionate female entrepreneur. I have a vision of a world of confident women who love themselves wholeheartedly. This is my new happy place, and I hope that it becomes yours too. So toss your hair up in that messy bun, grab your cup of coffee, get comfortable, and let's dive in. Welcome to the Happy Girl Podcast. Looking for a little retail therapy and want to shop from the comfort of your own home? Head on over to happygirlpodcast.com, click on our sponsors, and check out None of Your Business Boutique. Enter discount code HAPPYGIRL to save $5 off your purchase. Welcome back to another episode of the Happy Girl Podcast. I'm your host, Jamie Constantine, and today we are going to be talking about manifesting, law of attraction, and how creating vision boards can really help you build up on some of your goals and dreams and some of the things that you want to accomplish in your life. We are recording from the Called Podcast studio right here in Newport Richey, and I'm really excited to have our guest, Billie Alice, on the show. Now, Billie Alice is a mindset and intuition coach, and she coaches female entrepreneurs in living a life that you really don't need a vacation from. And I've heard her say this many times, so I can't wait to dive in with her. Billie Alice, I'm so happy to have you here. Can you say hi to our listeners and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, and thank you so much for having me on. As you know, I love what your podcast is about and what you stand for. It's so in alignment with what I do. So yes, as you said, I'm an intuition and mindset coach. Most people go, huh? When I say that. What that really means is I help my clients reconnect to their intuitive side, really focusing on the divine feminine energy. Most of my clients are very logically minded. They're action takers. They know how to show up and do the work. What they're noticing is that is all that's happening, and they're missing out on that balanced piece of life. So especially for entrepreneurs, the goal isn't just to have a monetarily successful business and life. It's to have a life that you are truly enjoying. So that's really what I do with my clients, is help them figure out what is their personal brand of success and how they can align with that. And I call it intentional manifesting. So everyone's always manifesting. The law of attraction, like gravity, it's always on. But there's ways to use it intentionally and really line up with what feels good to you in your life. So that's what I do in a nutshell.
That makes a lot of sense, and I really love that. Can you tell us what led you to wanting to become an intuition or a mindset coach? Is there anything on a personal level that you learned maybe about yourself and maybe about the things that you wanted to do personally or business-wise that got you to this point where you felt like you wanted to coach other people to do the same thing?
Yeah, my journey really kind of came about organically. I've been on my intentional, that's like my buzzword, so you'll hear it a lot, but my own intentional spiritual journey for the last decade. That's when I discovered law of attraction and started diving into quantum physics and mindset, how our brain works. And about 6 years ago, I really had this almost epiphany of I was wishing away 80% of my life. I wasn't thrilled with the job I had. The hours I worked were opposite of my husband. I didn't like our apartment. It was just so many things. Nothing was horrible, but I was waiting for the weekend. I was waiting for the next vacation and wishing away so much of my life. And I kind of came to this moment of, this can't be. This can't be what it's supposed to be. So I had the idea of, what if I just switched the numbers? So instead of 80-20 wishing away my life, I want 80-20 where 80% is the good stuff, 80% is enjoyment, and 20% is the dips, because they're still going to happen. I don't need 100% everything's, smooth sailing. But it was that idea. I didn't want a life that I was trying to escape from. I wanted my day-to-day life to feel good. And having learned as much as I had over the previous years on my journey, I was like, what if I just buy all in, actually do the things that all of these people have been telling, that I've been reading about? And I challenged myself for 30 days to find a way to be in my highest vibration, even if my circumstances didn't change. And that was really, reflecting back on it now, To me, that was that secret sauce of, can I find a way to align with my own happiness, even if circumstances aren't necessarily happy or exactly what I want? Because waiting for my life to inspire the feeling of feeling good, I'm forever at the mercy of circumstance. And as we know, hello, pandemic,
Right.
there's so much we can't control about the outside circumstances. And as cliche as it had to be the inside job. And so for 30 days, that's what I did. And within 6 months of that challenge, I did end up manifesting everything I had wanted. My husband got a raise. I got to leave my job. We manifested our dream house, our dream wedding, like getting pregnant on the first try. Literally everything I had journaled about wanting came to fruition. And so from that place, I was like, okay, this really works. I need to share this with people. And naturally, friends and family started asking, and my coaching business was born out of that.
I just love how you talk about the circumstances that are part of our life that really are out of our control most of the time. And I really like how you touch on the fact that we can't just allow what's happening in our lives to be that factor of what's going to create happiness. Like, yes, there's a lot of really good things, but I just really appreciate the fact that you touched on, like, life is hard. Family things going on in your family, like personal things, it's hard and it's rough. And it's hard to show up as being happy and kind of using that as your motivation to keep going forward. So I love how you brought up the aspect of really digging a little bit deeper inside and being aware that there are other ways to find that joy and that happiness despite what you're actually living through in this reality of a world that we live in. Now, you call yourself the sciencey spiritualist. You talk a lot about law of attraction, and I can't wait to hear more about manifesting and all that good stuff. But before we dive in a little bit further, I would love to hear what your favorite coffee drink is, because that's so important too.
Yes. So my coffee drink, my favorite it's pretty boring. It's a breve latte. If you don't know what that is, it's a latte literally made with half and half. So a treat for sure. But oh my gosh, it's so good. It's so creamy.
It sounds good.
Just give me that half and half and espresso and I'm in heaven.
I always ask the question, and Mike is like, why are you asking that? I'm like, do 2 half and halves make a whole? And it's like, oh my gosh. So if you put 2 packs in there, it could be like whole. I don't know. Well, I love that. And whatever you can have to enjoy and whatever comforts you, that's amazing. So let's dive in more into number one. Why do you consider yourself the sciencey spiritualist? Where did that come from?
Yes. So it really came on my personal journey. I just started reading, I love psychology. I love understanding like the actual neuroscience behind our minds and how our sympathetic nervous system works and how we really create the belief systems in early adolescence and all of those different things that are really scientifically backed and peer reviewed, all of that, as well as quantum physics is one of my favorite subjects to kind of dig into the nature of reality and how Newtonian physics break down once you get to the quantum level. I could nerd out about it forever. But I also really enjoy the more quote unquote woo-woo or spiritual side of things. And I really felt there was such an intersection between what we're seeing in psychology, in quantum physics, with what different modalities of spirituality have been saying for literal centuries. And I didn't want to put pressure on myself to choose one or the other. I wanted to be able to enjoy both. And I really wanted my audience, like my Facebook group, to have that same freedom of, it doesn't have to be you're a spiritual person or you're a logically minded scientific person. I fully believe there's space to explore both. And instead of seeing how they're different, look for how they're like where the commonalities come in, how everything is energy. Most people hear that and they go, okay, that's, more woo-woo. Everything's
Right.
energy. We're all connected.
But energy is science, right?
That is what quantum physics is. If you break everything down to its smallest piece, it is truly just energy that is interconnected with everything else. All of reality that we experience is energy. And that shows us both in spirituality and in science. So that's where the name came from. I wanted to kind of put it out there up front of like, no, this is what I'm about. I like both.
Yes. And why put labels on so many things, right? I think if we're whatever we can do that's giving us the opportunity to live our best lives. And sometimes it's thinking outside the box, but a lot of times we have to piece together those pieces that are positive, that are light, and find the way that we can use those and find the best parts of everything in order to move forward with whatever it is that we're going through in our lives. So I think that makes a lot of really good sense. And I love that you share that with us. So being the sciencey spiritualist, and like you're saying, you love nerding out on all that stuff and encouraging female entrepreneurs to follow their dreams and focus on their goals and really accomplish the things that they want. You're all about the law of attraction and manifesting things, just like you said, from your personal story. Now, you've created this magazine, which I am absolutely in love with. And if we could just she's created this magazine called the Real Vision Board magazine. And I am so happy and so excited that you came up with this because before I let you get into it, I'll speak from personal experience. I love vision boards, and we've talked about vision boards in previous episodes. And it really is surprisingly amazing. Even though in your mind you think that you believe, right? I'm going to put it on the vision board. I'm going to manifest something for myself. I'm going to put it on there. Yeah, girl, it's going to happen, right? And then you get busy your day-to-day life, motherhood, entrepreneurship, working at your job, taking care of the house and family. And you don't necessarily always reflect back to your vision board. But the really cool thing that I found is that once I've gotten to a certain point and I've had a chance to really look at it, it's amazing the things that have manifested. And I know you have to be kind of conscious and, look at it and have it as a reminder, but it's amazing when you put the intention into it, how incredible things can really be brought to light. So the reason that I am so excited about this vision board magazine is I don't collect magazines anymore. Like I used to have fitness magazines piled up around the house. And then there's not a lot of magazines that are really available out there. And personally, I don't keep those. So whenever I've had to make a vision board, I have to go online, go and print out stuff from the internet, get together with some friends that already have half cut out magazines already. And hopefully there's some good pictures and words spared in those for me. So because I'm so excited about this and because I feel like this is such a great tool and resource to have in manifesting your goals, tell us exactly your vision with this magazine and the whole purpose of it.
Yeah, and it really was born from those exact reasons. Earlier this year, I was making my vision board. All my magazines were picked over. They're all a few years old. And I had the thought in Barnes & Noble, looking at the magazine, I was like, do I really want to buy more magazines? And I was like, no, because you're lucky to get a couple good things out of each magazine. I was like, I wish there was just a magazine that had everything I wanted already in it. And then I booked it out of the store and ran home and was like, I'm going to make it. I'm going to make one. So I really did try to bring so much of that intentionality to the magazine. All of the images I chose myself. I tried to really think about the consumer of, who's going to be using this magazine, what types of images are going to inspire the most positive emotions, because that's really the power behind a vision board is the connection you have with what you're looking at. That's the base of manifesting. Manifesting at its core is your vibration, which is your emotion in a given moment. So to be at a higher vibration, it's those greater feeling emotions of satisfaction, success, gratitude, fun, playfulness. All of those are called quote unquote high vibe. So any images that are going to inspire that, you can have very specific images of things you want, but you also could have a board that's just images that make you feel really good to look at. Mm-hmm. And there is science behind vision boards as well. There's a lot of studies that actually show something called subconscious priming. So essentially, your subconscious mind takes in about 11 million pieces of information per second. That's what it's filtering in your environment constantly. Now, your conscious mind only holds about 40 pieces of information, and there is a bias to your conscious mind. So your belief systems, your expectations, that's what your subconscious is using to filter your environment. That's why you see the things you want to see. But understanding that your subconscious is constantly taking your environment, you can prime your own environment towards more of what you want. So inspiring words and images, and you can go look up. There are a lot of psychological studies about this. That's why offices have those pictures of like teamwork.
Right.
Because that's what they're doing, is they're trying to prime the environment to be more of that cohesive space. So that's the science behind why you can use a vision board. But in this magazine, while I have words and images with all of that intention behind it, I also had different female entrepreneurs contribute articles from their zones of genius to serve as inspiration for the person reading the magazine. So you're not just looking at pictures, you're getting inspired by these other women who are out there living their dream, who are taking those risks and being willing to fail. That's that second half of manifesting. It's make the vision board. That's in our feminine energy, getting into that intuitive side. But then the second half is actually taking the steps, going out and pursuing the dream, trying out that first step, being willing to fail and critique and go back and go, okay, that didn't work, but I still have that goal. So I'm going to try something else. So the magazine is kind of that twofold: to read it, be inspired, and then from that inspired place, go through and make your vision board.
You made a really good point, and that was the fact that if people don't understand exactly the vision board process, it's not magic, right? I mean, it could. I mean, I believe in magic, and it
Me
does have
too.
its magical like traits to it, but you do have to put in the work. And I think it is nice that you do have those articles in there and words from other female entrepreneurs, because then it's a reminder that even though like you want it, you have the intention to go after it, but you have to take the steps forward and work to get there, not necessarily just putting the picture on the board and then just sitting there and like waiting for it to happen. So that is a really good reminder to get out there and still do your best to make those things happen and keep believing in it, and having this as a great tool for inspiration and a great way to envision all of the things that you want. How is like, what if somebody doesn't understand law of attraction or manifesting? How, like, what is law of attraction and what is manifesting? Because we're talking about that a lot, but maybe someone doesn't understand exactly what that is.
Absolutely. So law of attraction also can be called law of energetics. My favorite way to describe it is thinking about like a radio station broadcasting. So law of attraction is the big broadcast. They're broadcasting everything across all stations. Now we are the tuners. We're who tune into the different stations. So if you're tuned into 93.3, My Life Sucks, the universe is broadcasting everything that matches your idea of what sucks is. So you're going to be aligned with experiences that match how you feel about life. And now your brain is also working to filter your life experience through that belief system. So it's kind of that both sides. The universe is matching your vibration and your brain is working to match your belief system. So when you're wanting to intentionally use law of attraction, because again, it's always broadcasting and you're always tuning in somewhere. Intentional manifesting is understanding that you are in control of that tuning. So we're always responding to circumstance in life. I call it the knee jerk, that initial energetic emotional response. Something bad happens, you feel those emotions. Those emotions are never bad, but the point is to process, what are these emotions actually communicating to me? And then take the step of, you don't have to live in the negative emotions or the unwanted emotions. So the goal isn't to get rid of negative emotions. The goal is to understand their purpose of showing you something, reflecting, having something to grow from, and then intentionally choosing to move out of those emotions back into the emotions that you're wanting to experience more of. So fun, gratitude, playfulness, all of those higher vibrations. And sometimes it's a process to shift your emotions, but there's always something you can find to feel grateful for in life. That's kind of one of the easiest way I would tell people who are newer to this, you don't have to feel good about a bad situation. You can instead tune into something that's easy to feel thankful for. And that's how you start intentionally using the law of attraction. When we talk about manifesting, so manifesting your goals, you're not really wanting the manifestation so much as you're wanting what you believe you will feel when you have the manifestation. So people want to manifest more money. Really what they're wanting is their belief about what having more money would feel like. Feel like fun, feel like ease, feel all of those good feelings. Well, you can feel those right now. And what that's going to do is tune you into the station of my life is fun and full of ease and flow. That's going to line you up with opportunities for money to come into your experience. And that's how you start the manifesting.
Hey there. Are you thinking of starting a podcast? Have you created a podcast already and just not sure where to upload all of your episodes to? Well, I want to share Libsyn with you. That's where I upload all of my episodes to get out onto all of those platforms like Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, iTunes, and so much more. They have such a great support team and they're very user-friendly. I want to give you the opportunity to take advantage of a month plus free by heading over to Libsyn.com and entering code HAPPY. There's plans and prices for everyone depending on your messaging and your audience. So head on over to Libsyn, that's LIBSYN.com, enter code HAPPY, and get a month plus free. Happy podcasting. And now back to the show. That's absolutely incredible. And I think what I've heard too before is, kind of act as if you already have it. And I think if we can allow ourselves to get out of that way of really like that disappointment or that failure that we don't have it already. And when people hear manifesting or the law of attraction and they're like, well, I tried it. Like I thought about it and it's not happening, right? I'm thinking money. I want more money. And I've been doing it for like the past week and I haven't seen any money yet. But I think what happens is when we don't see it immediately and we don't allow, like, I guess just the faith or just for the universe to be able to work in a way that it's going to give us that and give us that feeling. Because let's say even if it's money, right? Like you're talking about, like somebody's like, I want more money. I want to start this business. I want to make money. And if I just think about it and put on my vision board, then I'm going to be rich. I'm going to like make all this stuff. I could pay off the mortgage. I could do all these things. But then it also shows up sometimes in a different way, right? And I think we have to be conscious of that as well and accept the way that it comes into our life. So number one, I think it does take patience because, everything is shifting and everything is working to be able to give us that. But then also maybe be aware that it might show up a little bit different and not so obvious, right? I mean, I'm sure you've seen that before.
Oh, absolutely. One of my favorite mantras to say is money comes to me in expected and unexpected ways. Like, please send me money however you want, universe. But part of it, like when you're building momentum of something you want to manifest, part of it is learning to celebrate however it is showing up. So you put out to the universe, I want more money. I want to manifest more money. And then you find a penny on the ground. Most people completely bypass that. But what you could adopt instead is there's evidence that the universe is manifesting. What usually happens is we put our own judgments on, well, it's just a penny. It's like, no,
but
but
that stack of cash on my vision board.
yeah, not a penny. Like a penny's not enough. But really the mentality behind celebrating something as quote unquote simple or small as a penny is telling the universe, yes, more of this. Look, you just showed up for me. I said more money and I just walked outside and found more money. Look, the universe is showing up for me. I'm so excited for how it shows up for me next. And approaching everything from that space of gratitude is what's aligned with the things you're wanting. And I know it sounds so counterintuitive because it's like, okay, make your vision board of what you want and then stop thinking about what you want. But it's an art of subtlety of, yes, put the things you want. But if you start to notice the fact that they're not showing up, that's your indication that you're probably not actually tuning into the right space. So if you can look at your vision board and feel those positive emotions, fantastic. If you're looking at it and start to feel negative emotions about the fact that it hasn't come yet, that's your sign to look at something else. Look at something that's easy to feel gratitude about. Play with your dog, like go for a walk, do something that puts you back into the vibration of things do feel good. I have things to feel good right now, and the universe is going to bring me more things that match this feeling.
I think that's really great. And one of the things too that we have to look at as well is the fact that yes, it does take us like individually because we are the ones that can control, right? A lot of what's happening inside and within us. But with this law of attraction, I mean, other people come into play as well. So the things that we are looking for, the things that we want, and the things that we're trying to ask for to come into our lives, sometimes it takes other people. The interesting thing, and that's where the magic comes into play, is somehow people come into your life. And I think we talk about this a lot. They come into your life for a reason, for a season. They're there maybe for to stay forever and maybe just to stay for a little bit. I've learned that when people come into our lives, they've taught us something about ourselves and they've taught us something about people in general. And, let's say it's the money thing, or let's say it's a business opportunity or something that we want to reach. And we're looking more at the end result and we're looking at the bigger picture rather than seeing then the people that are coming into our life to be able to, they're part of that, they're on that path and they've come onto our path for a reason. And I think maybe if people start looking at it, and sometimes it's not until we have a chance to sit back and reflect, right? Like, wait a minute, I was just saying that I wanted to start this business, or I wanted to start this magazine, or I had this vision of something. And then there was something that sparked in that person, or how come I haven't seen this person in forever and I finally just saw them again? Isn't that amazing how people have so much to do also with that law of attraction and manifesting the things that you want in your life?
Oh, yes. And I say this so much, but 99%, and I could almost argue 100% of what you want to manifest is going to come through other people in some way, shape, or form. There's so many components that bring anything you want to manifest in the 3D together, and it's always going to be through other people. Even finding that penny on the sidewalk, someone out there dropped the penny. Like, other people are always going to be a proactive piece of your manifesting. And the more you can kind of just get into that almost excited wonder of like, ooh, like, who am I going to meet today? What's the universe going to surprise me with? That excited anticipation of the universe is going to meet me. And I'm just looking for the opportunities. I'm expecting the opportunities to pop up.
That's a really good way to put it. It gets them excited about something. When you have something to look forward to, sometimes you don't even know what it is. But if you give yourself something to look forward to and be excited about it, it can really change the dynamic of really how you're living day to day, rather than thinking, okay, what now? What's wrong? What's going to happen? This isn't working. But then just get excited. Start believing just believe in something that's not necessarily there yet, and just know that there is a possibility of all the good things to come. I really like how you said that. And I mean, are you currently doing anything with the Real Vision Board magazine? Are you doing workshops, or how are you getting it out there to the community? And I want to find out how the women can stay in touch with you and find the Real Vision Board magazine, and then also reach out to you if they have any questions as far as law of attraction or manifesting or anything like that. But before we do, can you give me maybe just like a couple of tips, or just even reminders, or anything, 2 or 3 tips for people that maybe want to start a small business and go the entrepreneurship journey, or maybe they're already in it and maybe they've gotten stagnant or anything like that? What are some key things that you can tell them to maybe help them push forward and enjoy the process going forward?
So, my biggest tip for entrepreneurs as a whole, and this is a lot of like the core of the work that I do with my clients, is focus on the fun. And that kind of flies in the face, I know, of a lot of the advice that you get around entrepreneurship. But really, it goes again, the reason you're building the business, that end goal of, I want a business that feels so good to show up in and be in. And it's all of those, your wildest dreams of success, monetary and life balance, all of those things. That's going to be built on the fun of life. There's no magic switch where you hit one day and suddenly now you've done enough quote unquote work to now you get to feel the fun. If you want a business that the end goal is to feel good, make feeling good in your business your priority now. Now, it doesn't mean that you don't do the quote unquote more mundane things, but it's bringing that experimental attitude to your business. Okay, today I have to do my bookkeeping. It's not my favorite thing. How could I challenge myself to bring a sense of fun to a mundane task? How can I expand on the parts of my business that do feel more fun? And maybe if you're a more established business, maybe outsource the parts that you don't align with as much. But fun has to be the priority first if you want to build something that feels fun later.
That's really good because you're so right. People just want that end outcome of the fun and the happiness, and even saying they're trying to build this business for money, but really I think the end result is happiness and to just live a joyful life. And I think that's why a lot of people work so hard, because ultimately their goal is to just be happy. And I love how you say, like, just make fun and happiness a part of the process. Because I think you even touched on it before at the beginning of your time, right? The energy and the time that you're putting into things. If you're just letting that time waste away and you're not really enjoying it, then you're making it just so much harder on yourself. So I really like how enjoying the process can really lead you up to a successful future. And before we dive into how they can get in touch with you, I would love to hear this manifesting and this nerding out, all this stuff, but what really sparks happiness for you?
For me, there's so much that sparks happiness. Obviously my family, I have a 3-year-old son, but kind of related more towards me on the personal side. The biggest things that spark happiness for me is allowing myself to show up in life my way, which is very, this is going to sound so funny, but very unscheduled. That has been probably one of the biggest game changers since starting my business. And it's just allowed me to actually be in my happiness versus pursuing my happiness, if that makes sense. Giving myself permission to really show up authentically to myself, which is never going to be an overly regimented person. And I finally kind of cast off that idea of who I quote unquote needed to be. So now I really get to be and enjoy the happiness of being myself. Hopefully that answered the question.
I totally get it, because I can relate to that. I like that non-regimented. It's kind of like, I consider it's like fly by the seat of your pants. And yes, structure is great. Like, we do need that. But to be able to have that freedom to just kind of just live your life and go with the flow, and things will happen as they come. You have some structure, of course, but you have the freedom to just live your best life to the best of your ability and enjoy the process. I think it's so great, Billie Alice, and I would love for our listeners to find a way that they can stay in touch with you and get connected. So can you tell us, I know you have a couple of events coming up, if you want to touch on that, and then how they can find you, your website, social media, and everything.
Yeah, so I have an event on September 3rd, which is going to be a local event in Florida, St. Pete Vision Board Networking Party. I have other events that are coming up, which easiest way is to probably follow my Instagram, Sciencey Spiritualist, or join me in my...
Time's up. You guys stop talking right now.
Dang! My Facebook group, also the Sciencey Spiritualists.
Awesome. And yeah, she shares a lot of really great insight and some really great information that can motivate you and really get you to looking at envisioning all of those amazing things that you wish for yourself, and even that you wish for your family members or anything. If you start working within yourself, then it definitely makes a difference going forward. Thank you so much, Billie Alice, for joining us on the Happy Girl podcast. And I can't wait for everyone to get connected with you. If you want to see this show and so much more, then just head over to happygirlpodcast.com. Thanks, Billie Alice.
Thank you.
I'm over here giving you the biggest virtual hug because you just finished another episode of the Happy Girl Podcast. Wow, did that just go by way too fast? If you want more, head over to happygirlpodcast.com for show notes and discount codes from all of the sponsors. And if you're looking for a tribe of women just like you to bounce ideas and ask questions, be sure to join my exclusive community on Facebook. The link is waiting for you at happygirlpodcast.com.